Hello, welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I'm Logan.
And I'm Luke.
And today we are going to be talking about Vince Gilligan and all of the stuff he's wrote and directed and, so on and so forth.
Yes. So if you're unfamiliar with Vince Gilligan, he's done writing of episodes of stuff that wasn't his original show, but his big three shows that he's known for are Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, and Pluribus most recently. So I guess I'll start off here. Out of those three, which one do you think you enjoy the most? Having only one season of Pluribus.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because, obviously the most recent thing that I've seen was Pluribus. But, with a great lineup like that, it's kind of hard to just pick one. Because, Better Call Saul, I really, really enjoyed it. I think the, storytelling and stuff in Better Call Saul was pretty top tier. And, just Saul Goodman in general, phenomenal character. But then again, Breaking Bad, that goes into, the TV show Hall of Fame for most people.
All-time greatest TV shows.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, personally, I'm not saying this show is just better, but I'm saying it's just, my personal favorite. My personal favorite, I would go Better Call Saul, just because I enjoyed it quite a bit. I was really, into it. It was also just, at times, a bit more, goofy and stuff, even though, it was a serious story. It was, a bit more goofy and, in what was happening and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what I enjoyed about it more so than anything. But what do you think?
I honestly am right there with you, and I don't even know if that's a hot take, because I feel like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad can just be on par with each other most of the time. I think I do just enjoy Saul more as a character than Walter White, but I think both, it's weird, but I feel like both of them have scenes and build-ups and stuff that outdo one another at certain parts, which is an extremely high bar because they're both great shows. And luckily I think it's a really great thing to be able to say about both of them is that they both wrapped up really nicely, and that's just where they're going to be left at. They're not going to be spoiled by anything really. They're just there, and they both wrapped up great and had awesome stories and great characters and stuff. So I would honestly say Better Call Saul as well as my favorite, but it's a very thin line between that and Breaking Bad. And then I'd have Pluribus at the bottom right now, but I could see Pluribus also being up there in that thin line area with more seasons and by the end of the show.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as rankings go, Pluribus doesn't really have a fair shake because it's only been one season. And for a show like that too, one season, don't get me wrong, there's been plenty of shows who have one season and just knock it out of the park from the jump.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Pluribus, it kind of takes a little bit to get to where you're going and all that. And
sure.
Especially now where it ended, where it left off, we still don't really know what's happening. We're just getting more clues as to what's going on.
Yeah.
It's, also just a very different show in terms of what it's about and all that. 'Cause, Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, obviously they're in the same universe and all that, which Pluribus is not. But also, Pluribus is kind of more of messes with your head, trying to wrap your mind around what's going on. It's you're trying to figure it out as you watch and all that, where I feel Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are pretty much straightforward. What's going on. It's just, what's going to happen next.
Yeah, Pluribus is really, as much as it's very upfront when Carol is asking questions and stuff in the show, it's very what is the you're trying to unravel the mystery, and it's not so much like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul where it's just a progression. It's hey, there's this problem, and it's it's like you said, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are crime drama, and then this is literally all of humanity is at stake. Is it good? Is it bad? Sci-fi. So I think it's also just unique because after watching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, it's you can see them both in Pluribus in just the vibes of it. And like, obviously they're all set in New Mexico, but with Pluribus kind of being more international as well, it's just like you can even still see that even when they're in I don't remember where Manusos was from, but like when they go to Vegas and stuff like that as well. And I think that's just really like a unique thing. And I think that's one of those things where I can't really put my mind up or put a word to it specifically, other than that's just what Vince Gilligan stuff feels like.
Yeah, I mean, stylistically, for being like so different, they all, like you said, they have like a very similar vibe. And I think that's, kind of just boils down to the fact that that's just Vince Gilligan's like style. Like that's his touch that he puts on it. But I do think that's interesting about Pluribus in general compared to like his other big stuff, because obviously Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, they kind of like tone-wise they're a little bit different, but since being the same story and like, same universe and all that, like it lines up.
Yeah.
They're going to be similar, obviously. But I feel like with Pluribus, rather than just being like, oh, yeah, like these two shows done well, like I'll just do like another crime drama and see where it goes, he kind of just took a, completely other direction, going with the whole, like, kind of like mystery, like sci-fi thing and all that. Like it worked out really well because, like, style-wise, like the way that it's shot and, like, the different scenes and stuff in Pluribus scream Vince Gilligan, but the writing and stuff isn't, the same as the different stuff that he's made before, which I think is really cool. It's, phenomenal. He's done a great job with it. It's like keeps you guessing.
It really does keep you guessing, and like, not like to jump too quickly into a deep dive of Pluribus, which we're gonna do, but I think with it being about what it is about, it's unique to me that like the main characters are just, they're not rocket scientists and stuff. It's just like regular people. And I think that's also just kind of the same mindset with Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, is like Walter White was just a high school teacher and then became literally like the center of the most powerful drug ring in the world. And like Better Call Saul, Saul Goodman is probably like just like the ultimate danger of a lawyer who's wrapped up in crime, being that honestly like genius in his own way. But then you get to Pluribus and it's like Carol is a romance novelist and she's just thrust into this thing and has to like figure out how do you even handle this. And then from the first episode, and this is kind of the same way with Breaking Bad, you get like a countdown of there's this problem and it's going to end in what presumably is a bad way. So like Walter White had cancer and that's why the whole thing started. That's like the countdown. But in this, it's literally they're coming to get you. They just don't know how yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, I was going to ask a couple questions about just like the characters in it. So between those two shows, and not Walter White and not Saul Goodman, who do you think are some of your most intriguing characters?
Well, it's kind of hard with that as well because some of them overlap quite a bit. But I mean, you can't go wrong with Gus Fring.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of gotta. He's up there. I feel like in Better Call Saul, I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name. Nacho, yeah. Nacho's pretty solid.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, he's kind of like one of the antagonists of the show, but also he's like not, you don't hate him the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he's like got some redeeming qualities and stuff, but I feel like, if you're not choosing the, lead actors or the lead characters, Saul Goodman, Walter White, I mean, the villains, the antagonists, kind of solid. Mike Ehrmantraut, pretty solid.
I love Mike.
Yeah, just Mike's character is so funny. I feel like he's not underrated because like a lot of people, I I think the memes definitely help with that.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
I think he goes under the radar for how cool and funny he is.
Yeah. And I think too it's interesting in Better Call Saul with Mike. Like the show is about Saul, but the show really is like two shows split into one. So it's over here you have the rise of Saul like becoming like just a really good lawyer and like rising up through that. But then in Better Call Saul, it's also Mike is basically witnessing why the cartel is in the position it is in like Breaking Bad and like the origins of all these criminals and violent figures from that. So I think that's a strength too, because when those two different storylines overlap, it happens so seamlessly, but it also is just it's so unique that it's like, oh, Saul is over here working for this new firm. Meanwhile, elsewhere, like the two twins are showing up and Hector Salamanca's around, and then there's like Wallow and everything going on. So yeah, I think that is honestly one of the most unique things about Better Call Saul. And I think I don't really have a great way to describe it other than that, like, I really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, honestly, yeah, now that we're talking about it more, I feel like Mike, as well, you know, as good as Saul is in his own show, Mike was, you know, he kind of stole the show in certain moments, like, especially when you, like, get deeper into, like, what he's doing in his part of the story. You're like,
Yeah.
that part's, like, you know, super interesting, especially, like, before the overlap. So like you were talking about, like the two separate storylines before they kind of convene into one.
Yeah.
When you just see him like doing random stuff and like, you know, you're starting to piece it together. Like, okay, well this is why he's doing this and this and this and this, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other question I was going to ask regarding those two shows is, I don't have like a very concrete way of putting this, but do you have a storyline or like series of episodes in either of those shows that really stands out to you as like that's your favorite part of what's going on?
I know for Better Call Saul, the part with Lalo, like the big dramatic, I mean, I'm sure this is a lot of people's favorite part from, well, one of them, because it, you know.
Yeah.
But when he breaks in and, you know, threatens them and all that was pretty intense. But also that part of the story too, when we were watching it together at the house, when we got there, I was like, dude, I can't stop now. I can't stop watching. But nah, that was probably my favorite. And then, I don't know, because Breaking Bad, to me, there's not like certain like series of episodes where I'm like, oh, like I really like that, and, you know, this, that, and the other. But I feel like, honestly, most of season 2 of Breaking Bad, I felt like was like pretty solid. I don't know. What do you got? What do you got for your favorites?
Personally, for me, in regards to Better Call Saul, my favorite like series of episodes is in season 5. I think it's when Lalo needs Saul to go out into the desert and get his money, and then they get wrapped up with like Mike tailing him and like dealing with the other cartel member. I don't remember exactly what the group is that's trying to intervene in it, but when they're being basically hunted down by those other people looking for the money, and then just the fallout of that.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's like such a step in a dark direction for Saul, because they had to like kill people and he was expecting to just like go out there and get money, but instead he was literally being hunted like an animal through the desert for days.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then for Better Call Saul, for Breaking Bad, I'll specifically say the moment in season 1, I think, when Walt goes to meet Tuco after Tuco put Jesse in the hospital and blows up his whole like operation, because that's such a like, holy crap moment. And then I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but when you get to the ending season of Breaking Bad and you just start to see Walt actually becoming pretty evil, because it's like you think back to the beginning and it's just like he's kind of just a timid, quiet guy, but then you like learn about just so much about like his resentment for his past and like feeling like he is owed the empire that he's building. So yeah, dang, those shows are just both so well written too.
Yeah, well, and piggybacking off of what you said in the last season, where you kind of see him, kind of like stepping into like, okay, like I have this like drug empire now, like I am just a drug lord and everything, like kind of just being like, you know what, this is like what I built, this is my thing now, versus like season 1 where he's kind of just like doing it just because he's kind of hesitant and he's don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just kind of in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
But like the progression from that all the way to where he ends up, I think is cool because you can kind of see that as the show goes on. Like he becomes more confident in what he's doing, because especially like in like the beginning, like the first few seasons, when he gets into like trouble with like the cartel and everything, and like whenever he gets into like rough spots, he's kind of like doing it out of like like I need to I gotta do it, I gotta just do it for like my survival, or just to make everybody happy so I don't get killed or get like my family killed or whatever. And then eventually he gets to the point where he just kind of like stops dealing with it. He's like, you know what, I've been doing all this, like I'm confident in what I'm doing now, like I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, it's cool to witness that too, especially, and I feel like this is a big part of like Hank in that show, is Walt is so set apart from the other criminals in the show, because when he shows up and like how he scientifically solves problems, like from being a chemist and stuff, like that's what puts so many people on the trail of him, is it's like whoever this guy is doing things that they don't expect. And like, so he comes up with like the chemically perfect meth, and he does things like use chemical agents and stuff in heists and honestly like murders and stuff. So I think that's always just an interesting thing, and then that escalates as well, especially by the end of the show, like when they're using a magnet to destroy an evidence room and stuff like that. It's like, wow, that's just so like unique of a criminal mind in that show. So that's just always a big strength of that.
Well, yeah, and like him opposed to like the other criminals, like you were talking about, like he's like super intelligent, like he's thinking it out, like using his science background and everything to figure out problems and do this, but he's also like kind of like a step ahead, like logically, in terms of like what he's doing and stuff, because a lot of the other like criminals and stuff in the show, like you can get to like the lower tier, like the Jesse criminals and stuff, they're like just crackheady drug people, and then you got like the kind of cartel like enforcers and stuff, just people who are willing to like hurt people and kill people and all that. Then you kind of move up to higher up members of the cartel and stuff who are I mean they're bosses, they're cartel bosses, they're smarter and stuff, but then like compared to like Walt, those people are all just like straight up just criminals, involved in drugs and all that, like it's just criminals in the drug world. And then he's like over here like, okay, like kind of not a criminal genius, but like it's a completely different path than like everyone else who he's involved with.
And he's so like nobody ever suspects him, because everybody who knows him is just like, oh yeah, it's Mr. White who has cancer and is dying and like is just trying to take care of his family and stuff. But that's what makes like the reveal when Hank figures it out, and just Walt stepping further and further into it, just that much more like, wow. And I think this is the last thing I'll say about Breaking Bad, but I think that's also what makes Gus such a scary villain, is because he's probably, I don't know if I'd say the most intelligent, because he gets killed by Walt, but he's just so smart and always 10 moves ahead of his enemies and everybody. And when you like see him execute a master plan and stuff, like when he actually takes out the top member of the cartel and stuff, it's just like, yeah, this guy is a much different kind of problem than, when they're dealing with Tugo and stuff like that. Except, I will say, I think Tugo is the scariest villain in those shows because of just how unpredictable and violent he is out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I think another thing though, like with Walt, comparing that to like Saul from Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, the way their characters are, like they have similarities. Just because like when you start off with Saul in Better Call Saul, he's kind of going through the motions. He's not not really doing much, but he's trying. He's scheming. He's trying to find ways to make money and do all that, and you can tell that like he has like ideas that could work and all that. But, like he's not really set in what he's doing, and then eventually over time, the same thing, kind of like how Walt was, is he eventually just starts to figure it out. He gets more confident in what he's doing. He's like, you know what, it's a little bit more grimy of an approach, but like eventually, like if I keep doing this, and this, like I'm gonna get to where I need to be. So I think like they're similar in that way, but different because I feel like for Saul, like it's not really like the fact that he's like super smart or anything. It's just like he's like manipulative more so than anything. He's manipulative.
He's crazy manipulative.
He's manipulative, and then a lot of it kind of just fell on like dumb luck and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas like Walt was like super calculated, just pretty straight up, like this is what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's like the strength of Saul as he's like more of a criminal is he immediately is coming from a background that you learn is like he's a con man and he's really good at playing the victim, and in some ways he is, but it's also what makes like Chuck is different as like an antagonist because he's not evil or violent or anything. He does some stuff that's messed up, but he's the only one who has Jimmy basically like all figured out from the beginning of like this guy with the law, if he like is really successful as a lawyer, is going to be extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Him and all his chicanery.
Yeah, the chicanery.
Earlier we were talking about our favorite characters. I forgot about the most important character in the entire show, Huel.
Huel Babineau. Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah. I say we deep dive into Pluribus for a little bit now. So, do you have anything that you, after watching season 1 of Pluribus, feel is the biggest question?
Well, I feel like, the biggest question would, I guess, just be why.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, it's aliens, and they're preparing, the world to be taken over and all that. Like, they want everyone to be complacent, so then it makes it easier for them to, like, colonize and stuff like that, which I think is a pretty good theory. The other thing, though, that I think is very interesting about that show is, like, every time you think Carol's getting closer to figuring it out, something happens, and it's just like, oh, yeah, like, that's, like, it might be weird, but, like, yeah, that's a fine explanation, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but then again, like, everything's weird, so, like, when she found the giant freezer in the warehouse full of, like, human body parts, stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, like, we have to, like, we don't want to, but we have to.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, like, I guess that makes sense, but whatever. And it just feels like every time, like, she's not really getting anywhere, like, she'll find something out, and then just nothing. But I think eventually something's going to come up to where it's like, that's kind of, wait a minute. Yeah. But I know that's how it's supposed to be. But also, the other thing is I'm like, the hive mind or whatever it is, like they said they had to, like it's for like the betterment of humanity. They had to do it. But if you think about it, when it first started, when the whole thing, like they were spreading it and all that, like that did not seem like it was, for the betterment of humanity. Because also they weren't, because also their whole thing is like, they have to have permission to do all those things or whatever. But like they did not do that with everyone's permission. They were just doing it.
They
So
just
I'm like, I don't know, man.
yeah.
I think this is all kind of some big facade.
I think so as well because you find out in the show that they will die. They'll all die based on like their own rules and stuff about consuming like things that were once living, or about killing things. Like they will not kill something that they'll like all starve to death in 18 years or something like that. But they also are building an antenna to spread this whatever it is somewhere, and I really feel like it's not that simple. I also feel like they say they can't lie and stuff, and I don't think that's true. I feel like they can lie about most things, and this brings me into or I don't think they can lie about most things, but I feel like there's some stuff they just will not talk about or tell the full truth about. This goes into a theory I have about Pluribus in general, which is that I don't necessarily believe that they are all like one collective free thinking consciousness. I feel like something has all of their consciousness and is making the decisions of what they do, because they all just get together and then automatically know how to like spread this. Well, I mean, I guess that's the point, is they want to spread it as far as they can from the get-go, but it's like you said, like, why? What makes it better if it's going to kill them all in 18 years? And that's what makes me think just in season 2 there's going to be some insanely big reveals about like what, like that's actually what's going on here. And I don't necessarily believe that it's, well, I don't know, it could be a group of aliens doing this, or it's just Earth is next in line for this thing being spread, because they said they know where it came from, but they also made a specific point of saying that whoever sent it there is probably gone, like long gone, because it's been traveling through space for so long.
I do also agree with you on there's probably something like controlling all of them, and it's not just like a collective conscious thing, because I just feel like why would they all just be like, why would this happen? Then they just have like one big collective conscious without like something overarching over that. Like I just feel like there's, in every like example of anything like that, like a beehive or anything like that, like there's always something that's like in charge. There's always a reason, like, the queen or whatever it is, it's the reason that all of this is happening and working.
Yeah. Well, I have like 2 topics I'll bring up with Pluribus, and the first one is, do you have any moments that you consider in season 1 of what we have so far to be like the most shocking, that like just like took you off guard? It's like, oh, what?
Yeah, toward the end, the reveal that Zosha and, I guess the hive mind has actually been trying to infect Carol this whole time, even though she thought she was safe.
Yeah.
They weren't lying to her, but they were also just making her assume that they couldn't get her, and they were like, it's actually not true.
Yeah. And also just, I don't know how that's going to come into play, because they clearly still intend to get her in with them. I don't know what then they think, or what the approach is going to be of getting her to join them, because they told her they wouldn't. Well, they specifically were saying, though, they're not going to inject her with something. So I think Carol needs to like think about the right phrasing to make sure they won't try and get her. For me, I have probably 2 scenes, and one of them wasn't so much it like took me off guard, but I was just like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened, is when Carol had the hand grenade and thought they had given her a prop, and then Zosha took it after she pulled the pin and just like threw it out the window and it exploded. I was sitting there like, oh my gosh. And then this one's just a stupid one, but when they sit Carol down for the instructional video about why they eat why they need to eat humans, and it's John Cena walks on and starts explaining it like it's an infomercial.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just funny.
That was a funny moment.
I feel like they had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
Well, this is the last thing I'll probably ask about Pluribus, but do you have any speculations about things that you think will happen or that we'll see in season 2?
Well, I mean, they've kind of ended where, it's seemingly apparent that her and Carol and Manusos are going to join forces and try to figure this out. And I feel like how they ended it, Carol thinks she's kind of on to something, so she's, trying to plan this, that, and the other. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm sure, because as it went on, like, I think season 1 was, like, establishing what's going on and, like, the, like, I guess, like, rules of this, like, how it works. I think season 2 will be more so, like, they're actually, like, figuring stuff out. Like, this is happening. Like, stuff is going to be changing rather than, like, establishing like it was in season 1. So I think we'll see, we'll get more info. We'll see some changes.
Yeah.
See what's going on. I do think that, and this is just, wild speculation. It's just something that could be true, could not. The possibility, so, like, the rules of, like, them not lying, them not killing and all that, they stick to them pretty well. But there's always the possibility that could all just be a lie. Yeah. Like, none of those rules could even be true.
Yeah.
They just made that up to make her trust them.
It's like we said, it could be a mass deception of some evil consciousness or something that might actually be in control to just make them believe that it's a good thing and that there's nothing sinister about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be a really strange direction for the show to take, for it to actually end up being like, oh no, it's good. Like, it's good. I think it's very important that it's like Carol and Manusos are like the only people who seem to be questioning it,
I did have one other theory, and this is just wild. This is just a shot in the dark, but I was just thinking about it while I was watching it. So this all gets started by a message getting sent, from outer space or wherever. I thought about this early on, and I don't have any reason to back this up. Like, maybe it is aliens or maybe not, whatever. But I've thought about the possibility, like, maybe it's like a weird, like, time travel thing or something like that. Like, it's, future humans that had to, like, leave Earth or something like that, and they're sending it back, and, like, that's what, the hive mind does. It's almost starve, and they work together to set out on their, a way to save humanity or something. They sent that back, and it's kind of, who knows, a weird future time loop thing.
Yeah, it could be a really strange answer. Like, not just so simple as somebody sent it. And honestly, that could be something they never explain, is who sent it.
Yeah.
Well, a couple speculations that I have. I think it's very intentional that by the time, like, the whole first season is basically leading to Carol and Manusos finally meeting, but that they were so against each other from the start about how they're handling it. I feel like in season 2 they're going to work together for a while, and it's not really going to be like an easy partnership, but I feel like they're going to get to a moment where, this is a very specific speculation, but, like, since Manusos already seems to have figured out the right path to getting somebody out of the hive mind, I could see it being a thing where he figures it out all the way, but if he does it, it could, like, kill a bunch of people or something, because it's as simple as them getting their feelings hurt and, like, shoved for them to seize up and however million people to die at once. So when Manusos did that, Zosha even said, like, Carol, something's about to happen, I'm sorry, and she just, like, laid down so that she was safe while that was going on. So it's like, whenever they figure that out, which I'm assuming will happen, I think there would be a major consequence to it. And I could very much see Manusos being of the mindset of, like, it has to be done anyway, and Carol being like, no. And then them splitting. And I could also see it being a thing where by the end of season 2, I could see a cliffhanger happening, like, Carol gets into the hive mind and it's, like, up to Manusos, or, like, the other way around. And then one more speculation I have in this, I have no evidence to back up either. I think you and I have just talked about this before. Based on the vibe of the show, I could see a cliffhanger at the ending of season 2, in the midst of like the final action of the season or whatever, just at the most random moment, like Carol looking over and seeing like a UFO landing or something. Because they have the right setting of, like the middle of the desert, Albuquerque, New York. It's kind of like, or not New York, New Mexico. It's kind of like that Phoenix, Arizona Area 51 vibe. So I could see something like that happening.
I could as well. And then I think another thing that I forgot about that I think will happen in season 2 is we learned as well that by like kind of like probing their mind with like, their past memories and stuff, you can kind of break them out of it. Because like that happened with Carol and Zosha.
Yeah.
When she was like probing like questions about like her past self and stuff like that, she kind of was like almost broke out of it and then like snapped back to the hive mind. So I think they'll try to explore that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Which I think that's interesting. I'm wondering because of how prominent Zosha is, which I know she's like Carol's, I guess like I don't know. She's like the messenger for between Carol and the hive mind, I guess. But she's such a prominent character that I'm wondering if eventually, maybe in like the end of season 2 or something like that Zosha will break out of it and just be a regular character within, what's going on with like the Nusos. Because I think that would probably be the direction they would go.
Yeah. And this actually reminds me of one more thing I'll speculate, because I remember after we watched it, you said something about this too, is I could see it being a thing where the way we'll find out about something more sinister with it is they'll get somebody out of it and the person will be like freaked out and will be like, this is like really bad, which I could see and I feel like would fit very well into that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, when Carol was probing Zosha's mind for like memories and stuff like that, when she was like kind of like coming back to like normal and like she like had to like pause and she was like kind of like stuck, she did not look very comfortable. Like she looked like, oh, like what the heck?
Yeah.
And then she like snapped back to just being part of the like hive mind. So yeah, I don't know. I think whatever it is, I think that might be a big thing too. I think that might be how season 2 like wraps up. If like it's a cliffhanger, they could get somebody out of it and they're like, dude, like it's not a collective conscience. I was under control or something like that. And then just, that's it.
Yeah. I could definitely see it being something like that. Do you have anything else you want to add about Pluribus or Vince Gilligan in general?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I think we do have a little bit of a long wait for season 2 because that's just every TV show now, but we'll hopefully not in too much time get more answers about what's going on. So this has been the Mild Opinion Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.